Anyway, hi guys, welcome to Dogman TP Hunting, and if you are listening to this, it'll be on the Interdimensional Voyagers podcast. I hope you had a good week. It's Friday again, thank goodness. I'm going to get cracking straight onto this. I'm going to bring up Cole, okay, co-host. Let's have a look. Hey Cole, how are you, mate?
Yeah, Phil. Welcome everybody to the Friday Night Files. Yeah, I'm okay. Great week, to be honest. I've been that stressful at work. Had a stressful day again about today, but that's about it, really. But I'm
Okay.
here, and I can't wait for tonight's show. We've got some fantastic guests on tonight, as you know, Phil. We've been through several paperworks that they've sent us, and
Yeah.
well, to be honest, it's just mind blowing. It is to me. It's in your realm, really, more than me. But yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic, I hope.
Yeah, we've got people on, as you know, there's the man of the hour. We've got Rick Allen. We had him on previously.
Great guy.
Nice guy. He's got almost like a grand unified theory, isn't he, Carl? You know, about aliens and cryptids, and you know.
To be honest, I mean, I've read it 3 times. I mean, you sent me it a week ago. Then I put it through AI, and I've scrutinised every bit of it. And to be honest, it still blows my mind reading it. Obviously, we're going to hear it, but the theory behind it is quite not unique. But I have heard it before, but it's quite renowned.
It is, and you know, there's parts of it which, you know, there's parts of it which absolutely do make sense. They do make sense. But it's just, you know, there's other parts which I must admit I find hard to believe. Now, whether it is true or not, we're here now really to find out, and that's why we kind of have got other guests on as well, haven't we? We've got some other people. We've got a UFO guy. We've got an anonymous UFO guy, and we've got a scientist. Yeah. So it will be a bit of a mishmash. People bear with us because from the technical side of things, which is you know, which I'm sort of taking care of in my haphazard way. If things drop off or drop out, then bear with us, okay? But all right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring up.
I'm just going to add, Phil. Sorry, I've got a guy across the road. He's having his drive done, and they're out there now with a digger. So if I cut my mic, you know, just put your fingers up or something. You know.
Okay.
Obviously, it's going to bleed through. I've got the window shut, but it will bleed through to the studio, I think.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay. I mean, you got an echo cancellation on those. Well,
I have, yeah. It's shut up now, so I don't know if they've finished for the night, but they're all stood up there, so we'll see.
Right. Okay. If you go to the window and just like shout a few expletives, then we fully understand why.
What, me? What, me? When have I ever sweared at you?
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Shocking.
You've shocked me.
He comes up. You know what? He comes up with words I never even heard of. And I'm only 59. I haven't heard some of the stuff he's coming out with.
I can't repeat them. All right.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna bring on the guests first of all, and then after I bring the guests on, I'll shut that up. After I bring the guests up, I'm going to play 13 minutes. Now, the best way of doing this, I think, is to play a bit of AI, and it's one of those conversations again between 2 AI bots. And because we sort of like had a thought, we were wondering about this, Carl, weren't we? How are we going to do it in a shorter space of time possible?
Yeah, what I did is copied and pasted the text that Rick sent, and I don't know if you've got I think it's on most Windows 11, but you can read aloud. Then I put it into record. So, but I haven't got it on this PC, which I do apologise. I should have done it on this. It's on the downstairs one.
Okay. Well,
so I could have done it from here. Really, I never.
It's no problem. I've got the AI. It's 13 minutes, but I think it's well worth because it gives a general good background of what we're talking about with Rick's theory.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. But let's get the guys on. I'll bring them on. First off, let's bring on Rick. Hi, Rick.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, Rick.
Great to be here.
Yeah, great. Thank you for joining. Right. I'm going to bring also bring on. Let's have a look. Also, Matt. Now, Matt is a scientist. Very learned. He's I'm sorry to say this, people, but he's one of the most intelligent people I know. So I brought him on just to give us a bit of an overview. He is a skeptic on the skeptical side, but I think that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good thing. Give us a good contrast. Hi, Matt.
Hello.
Yeah, Matt.
Thank you for joining us. Right. Okay. We've also got Chris. Chris Meechan. He's
Hi, Matt.
our UFO guy.
Hey, Chris.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. And in the background, we've got a guy who wants to stay anonymous, called Tom. That is an anonymous name. You know.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Tom.
So but we'll be hearing from Tom in a little bit. So that's great. And last but not least, you know him, you love him, Ian Wood, Dogman investigator extraordinaire, and a really nice guy. He's like main advisor. Hiya, how you doing?
Good evening. How's everyone?
Okay. Right. What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to get this audio up. Okay, it's 13 minutes, but I think it will just give a good background, so we know, we're backing off the same stumps when it comes to Rick's theories. Okay, so I'm just going to get that up now. It is like two AI bots who are talking to each other. And people at home, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel.
It does.
It takes a lot for all of us to get together, and a lot of organisation, and people are, the guys here are kind of spending their time doing this, and it's a cool thing to do. Just like and subscribe, that'd be great. Just shows that we're doing the right thing. Right then, let's start playing it.
Okay, so let's try and unpack this one.
Right.
Imagine if everything you thought you knew about aliens, ancient history, even like the very fabric of reality itself. Imagine it was all spun from just this one single kind of unbelievable thread. Today we're doing a deep dive into this untitled document.
Yeah, and it's a source that presents a truly, mind-bending theory. Like you said, it tries to connect all these different things.
Exactly. UFOs, missing people,
cryptids, even religious texts. It pulls them all under one pretty sweeping and provocative explanation.
So our mission really in this deep dive is to walk you through what this document claims.
Understand its perspective, its internal logic.
Yeah, see how it builds this picture. It's definitely unsettling. We should say that up front.
Absolutely. And just to be clear, we're relaying the ideas presented here. We're exploring them, not, endorsing them as fact.
Right, just laying it out. So, okay, let's hit the core claim, the really big one right off the bat.
Let's do it.
This document, it claims that all the UFOs, all the aliens people report seeing, the Greys, the Draconians, all whites, you name it, they're actually all part of the same military force.
One single force.
Yeah. And get this, the kicker is this force is supposedly made up entirely of, genetically engineered Homo sapiens, humans from another planet Earth.
Wow. Okay, that's a huge claim. But what's interesting is why the document insists they have to be human.
Right. It doesn't just say it, it gives reasons.
Exactly. It argues that the requirements for a species to actually develop space travel technology are incredibly narrow, really specific.
So are they?
It lists what it calls the 3 necessary requirements. You need super intelligence, obviously, complex language, and critically, a hand with an opposable thumb.
For the fine motor skills.
Precisely. For that precision grip, we need to build complex tools and technology.
Okay, so super intelligence, language, hands.
And the document goes further, laying out this very specific evolutionary pathway to even get those skills.
Right. I remember this bit. You need to be bipedal.
Bipedal, yeah, to free up the hands. Warm-blooded for the energy needed for a big brain.
A mammal for the neocortex part of the brain.
Primate, specifically for the grasping hand. Then you have to come from a group of apes that lost their tails, which helps with walking upright.
Okay, this is getting really specific.
And finally, evolve from the Homo genus itself for the advanced tool-making and complex language capacity. It's presented as this incredibly narrow evolutionary bottleneck.
If that's the path, what does this source say that means for life out there in the universe?
Well, connecting the dots, the document argues the laws of physics and chemistry are universal.
Right, they apply everywhere.
Then the laws of biology probably are too, or at least the fundamental building blocks, which implies that DNA, those 4 letters,
ATCG,
are likely used everywhere life evolves to this level. And if these beings are doing any kind of hybridizing with humans, as some abduction reports claim, that strongly suggests they're carbon and water-based, just like us, using the same basic DNA molecules.
It even drills down into our own species, Homo sapiens. It claims we had this key advantage over, say, Neanderthals or other humans around at the time.
Yeah, it points to a specific mutation in the TKTL1 gene.
Right. In Neanderthals, it produced lysine, but in us, arginine.
And the document speculates that difference was crucial for boosting neuron production in our brains.
Giving us an edge. So what's the huge leap the document takes from that specific genetic point?
It's maybe the most startling claim of all. It speculates that because of this narrow path and maybe that specific mutation, we, Homo sapiens, might be the only species in the entire universe capable of developing spaceflight.
Wow. So no Star Trek Federation, no Galactic Council.
According to this document, absolutely not. It states pretty emphatically, no such thing as the Intergalactic Federation or the Galactic Council. It's only our species in deep space, and they are looking for other planet Earths.
Which radically changes everything if true. Okay, so if these aliens are actually engineered humans, what about all the other weird stuff people report? Bigfoot, ghosts, demons.
Right, how does that fit? Well, the source presents this framework. It categorizes all these encountered entities into 6 distinct groups.
6 groups.
6 groups, which it labels quite chillingly as an army that is occupying the Earth.
An army. Okay, what are these 6 groups?
It's a really broad categorization. Group 1 is aliens. You know, the familiar ones people associate with UFOs as grays, tall whites, Anunnaki types.
Okay, standard enough to start.
Group 2, divinities. This is where it gets weird. It includes gods, God, angels, all lumped in.
Wait, God and angels are part of this alien human army.
According to this source, yes. Group 3, cryptids. Your Sasquatch, your Dogman, even things like Nessie or other lake monsters described as dinosaur-like.
Okay, so Bigfoot is working with the Greys.
Potentially within this framework, yeah. Group 4, demonic. Things like the rake, crawlers, Wendigo figures from folklore.
Jeez, that covers a lot of horror tropes.
Group 5, human morphs. This one's maybe the most surprising. It lists historical figures like Alexander the Great, Jesus, and mythical beings like the Fae or Fairies, all under human morphs.
Alexander the Great was an alien soldier. Okay, what's the last group?
Group 6, electromagnetic entities or EMEs. These are described as being made of photonic particles, light energy, essentially.
And shadow people, orbs.
Exactly. Shadow people, poltergeists, orbs, big and small, all classified as EMEs within this army structure.
So you've got Greys, God, Bigfoot, Wendigos, Jesus, and shadow people. All supposedly part of the same occupying force of engineered humans from another Earth.
That is the picture the document paints. Yes, it's comprehensive, to say the least.
So this army, how does the document say they operate now? Are they just waiting?
It suggests the army is already here, but it's kind of broken up, hidden around the world, not acting in unison, maybe. But it also claims that encounters are increasing. They're ramping up the terror, is the phrase used. And sightings are happening more in urban areas, not just remote places, especially at night.
And it calls them the perfect soldier, the weapons.
Yeah, implying each category, each type of entity maybe has a specific function or role within this occupation.
Okay, if it is an occupying army, the source claims, they'd need a strategy, right? A reason for being here, a plan. The source calls it their game plan.
Indeed. And this next part tries to explain the why behind all these different types of encounters. It lists 6 main strategies or methods of manipulation.
6 strategies. Okay, what's number 1?
Number 1, religion and ideologies. The document calls this the most obvious way that they manipulate us.
So?
It claims that all major religious scriptures actually originate from these alien humans. It even makes the specific claim that Jesus survived the crucifixion because he was engineered to.
Wow. Okay, that's a big claim about religion. What's next?
Number 2, the missing 411. You know, the strange disappearances, often in national parks, people vanishing without a trace.
Yeah, David Paulide's work. Very mysterious.
The document attributes these disappearances to weaponized teleporting used by these entities.
So they're just beaming people up, basically.
Or away. Method 3, alien and UFO encounters. The source distinguishes these from missing 411 because in abductions, the victim is allowed to see their captors.
Ah, so it's a deliberate interaction, not just a removal.
Apparently so, according to this theory. Number 4, animal mutilations. Cattle, mostly, but the source says it's increasingly wildlife, too.
Often linked to UFOs or strange lights.
Yes, and the source also mentions cryptids like dogmen being involved in these mutilations.
Okay. Number 5.
Cryptid encounters, seeing Bigfoot, Dogman, Nessie, etc. The source stresses these are encounters with entities that are not natural, and significantly, none of them exist in the fossil record.
Reinforcing the idea they're engineered or artificial in some way.
Exactly. And finally, number 6, EME encounters. Those electromagnetic entities we talked about, shadow people, ghosts, poltergeists, orbs.
Right.
The document describes them as things that appear to be living, but they are not, and they're capable of physical acts that seem supernatural, like moving objects.
Okay, so religion, disappearances, abductions, mutilations, cryptids, ghosts. All tools in their toolbox, according to this source.
That's the framework presented. 6 methods used by the 6 types of entities in this army.
So what's the point of all this manipulation and terror? What's the end game for us, for Earth? The document mentions missing civilizations.
Right. This leads to the grand scheme, the really large-scale picture the document tries to paint. It offers an explanation for why some ancient civilizations seem to just vanish.
That's the Maya, maybe, or others.
Perhaps. And also why we find seemingly virgin rainforests in places like South America or the Congo, areas that maybe should show more signs of long-term habitation. The source claims these alien humans have been conducting a cycle. They find or place a small population, teach them basics like astronomy and agriculture, let them grow for a few thousand years.
And
then they harvest the people. They remove the population, allowing the jungle or forest to grow back, erasing the evidence.
harvest, meaning they take them, kill them.
The document implies removal, abduction on a mass scale. It says this covers the fact that millions of people are unaccounted for throughout history.
It's incredibly dark. So people always ask, if aliens wanted to invade, why wait? Why haven't they just done it?
And this source provides an answer, unsettling as it is. It suggests they need one final, massive harvest.
Why massive?
To gather the billions of people they now require for. Well, the document doesn't specify what they require them for, but it implies the current global population is the target size for this final phase.
And it connects this to current world events.
Yes. It warns that a critical moment is approaching, possibly linked to global instability.
How so?
It speculates that situations like we see, say, in the Middle East or Ukraine, conflicts that have the potential for nuclear escalation, might be the trigger.
A nuclear...
Well, the source argues these alien humans cannot allow a full-scale nuclear war because that would ruin the planet that they want. It would damage the force.
So they'd step in, prevent it, like in some classic sci-fi tropes.
That's the speculation. They'll likely intervene to stop an all-out nuclear exchange.
Okay. And then what happens after they save us from ourselves?
According to the document, that's the moment they make their move openly. Once they've prevented global catastrophe, they will present themselves and offer humanity a choice.
What choice?
The option to be ruled by them, by these aliens, an end to war, perhaps, stability under their control.
And if humanity accepts, if we say yes,
then the document states very starkly, we have lost. Acceptance means the beginning of the end. They will then process the populations.
process, like the harvests.
It seems so. Using the cryptids, it says, acting as the on-ground troops to manage or round up the populations.
Good Lord. Bigfoot and Dogmen as occupation troops.
It's a grim picture. And it leads to the final, maybe most profound twist in the whole document.
Which is?
The question of the real creator. The source claims there is a creator, a genuine ultimate source, but it's not the entity most religions call God.
Who does it identify as God then?
It identifies God, particularly the God of the Old Testament, as the alien leader, or at least part of this alien human group.
So if God is the alien, who does the document say the real creator is?
It asserts the creator is the serpent.
The serpent, like in the Garden of Eden.
Exactly. It claims that's why in the Genesis story, the serpent told the truth and God lied about the forbidden fruit, because the document states the creator cannot lie, whereas the alien God could and did.
So the entire foundation of good and evil, God and the devil, is flipped on its head.
Completely inverted, according to the source's narrative.
Wow. Okay. That is a lot to take in. So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening to this? We've just walked through this single source, this untitled document, and it's really radical reinterpretation of, well, almost everything. History, religion, biology, UFOs, cryptids.
It forces you to consider this alternative narrative where all these seemingly unconnected phenomena are actually part of one single, very complex, and let's face it, deeply unsettling plan.
Carried out by a species that is disturbingly almost exactly like us.
And what's really thought-provoking, I think, is how it makes you question the assumptions we hold about who we are, where we came from.
Yeah, about the things we call gods or monsters.
Exactly, about the forces that might be pulling the strings behind the scenes of human history. It really pushes you to ask, if the world was operating under some kind of hidden agenda like this, what familiar stories, what things you take as fact might suddenly look completely different? How would you reinterpret them?
That's a heavy question. And the source itself ends on a pretty stark note, doesn't it?
It does. It concludes. Our only chance to save our world is to resist, and we need help to do so.
Resist the alien humans, presumably. A provocative thought indeed. Something to definitely chew on.
Okay. Rick, first off, are you happy with that brief summary?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That was better than I could have hoped for, to be honest with you, Phil. Yeah, that was excellent, in fact.
I'm pleased it was. I didn't want to weight it down, and, with any bias. I just wanted it as it was, just to basically condense down a little bit. So there we have it. There's a lot to unpack. Has anyone got any questions for Rick concerning it?
Anybody? How can you top that? I tell you now, that was,
Fascinating.
The way AI portrayed it is fantastic.
Okay, thank you. Right, I've got not so, but it's basically because I've been doing some referencing, Rick. Yes, mammals warm-blooded. We partly because of evolution, partly because of environment. We became warm-blooded, so they believe. But it would be naive of us to say that we are the most intelligent, or apart from any other animal intelligent. There's plenty of animals which hold intelligence, both cognitive intelligence, but which aren't
dolphins.
Species. Yeah, dolphin, octopi, octopuses, exhibit remarkable cognitive abilities, including camouflage, tool use, and problem solving. I understand that they don't go up in space.
But here's the fact. But you need that intelligence along with the language to share the information, and the hand with the opposable thumb capable of precision grip, Phil. You need these three requirements, and you need them to the utmost degree. And it's only in our species that it's not even enough to be human. The Neanderthals were every bit as human as we are, but they didn't survive. They were incapable of taking over their whole planet Earth. Surely if a species is going to go into space, it first has to take over its own planet. So you need these three specific requirements to the very umpteenth degree, and that's what you find in humans.
Okay. We have a question from PW7457. How you doing, mate? Question, Rick. Civilizations can disappear by plagues, infertility, wars, weather, meteors, pole shift, but you say harvested? Question mark. So I think what PW745
Yeah, civilizations could collapse due to that. But if civilizations containing millions of people collapse, you will find movement north, south, east, or west. Millions of people can't move and get lost in the countryside. The only way to disappear without a trace is to go up the way. I've no doubt that there is civilizations that have collapsed to that. But the reason I look at it differently is, if you read the Bible in the book of Revelation, it talks about the final harvest coming when the fruit of the earth is going to be ripe, and the angel will come in and put in the sickle and harvest. That's when I realised what they intend to do with us is what they've done many times before, just not on the grand scale. So there are civilizations that have collapsed to that, but
Rick, you do realise that the Bible was written by men. It wasn't written by God. It wasn't written by God. It was written by men. You know, you do the interpretation.
The alien men, the alien humans. You're right, Phil. There is no such a thing as the gods in the sense of the creator. It was the alien humans that passed on these religious texts in order to manipulate people.
No, could they not just
look at Christianity. Approximately.
Yeah.
Phil?
Sorry.
Yeah, hiya. Yeah.
Tom would like to ask a question.
You know, I mean, could they not just be bad humans that we've been manipulated by, you know, people who've seen a long-term plan and chosen this path, and we're now at the culmination of that? Why does it have to have any alien interjection, you know?
Because
there's enough people in the world, you know.
Because you're still forgetting about the UFOs. Where are the UFOs? Where are the UFOs coming from? Where are the UFOs coming from? Where are the cryptids coming from? Where are the shadow people coming from? What I'm suggesting is that's all technology. This plan had to start when humanity came into existence in order for it to be correct. If you can manipulate all the sources, all the different human tribes, look at the language in the Bible. It says that all humans spoke one language, and then God come down and confused the language. Yeah, they did. They changed the languages in order to cause division, in order to have words have double meanings. So you could say that it was humans that, as in earthly humans, that wrote the Bible, but it doesn't fit. You're still left with all these big questions. And then there is the claims that God make. I mean, you realise that the Bible, or God orders genocide, infanticide, rape, mass slavery. What kind of creator would order that? There's a deception going on here, and for this deception to work, it has to be done on all levels.
Yes, there's 100% deception. Yeah.
So I think they've spoken about it for years. The harvest. I think they're very, very close to revealing that when we go to sleep, when we die, that something happens to our consciousness. It is harvested, or it's used as like an energy resource, or it's recycled. Something happens to our consciousness.
No.
That's just. I think that's actually just about to come out. I love your theory, Rick, but a lot of the theory's based that all of this is the same thing. It's from the same source. I'm unsure that we can find scientifically that's correct. I think a lot of the problem with disclosure at the moment is they don't know where half of this stuff comes from. They know where some of it comes from, but they can't work out where the other stuff
that's right. They don't know. Yeah, this is why I'm putting forward this theory. See, if you look at all the different alien types, there's an underlying connection with them. For a start, they could come to our planet and breathe our atmosphere. They could take abductees into the UFOs, and the abductees can breathe that atmosphere. This suggests that these aliens are breathing in oxygen and breathing out carbon dioxide, just like we are. If they're breathing in oxygen, breathing out carbon dioxide, they're part of the carbon cycle. So that means they're going through the same thing. So you could argue it's not planet Earth, but it has to be similar.
I think what you might this is what I believe is that.
Sorry, you're breaking up a wee bit.
Yeah, sorry, this is Tom here. Is that they've been here a lot longer than we have. You know, potentially they've interfered in our DNA. It's quite likely, more likely their planet than it is ours. You know, that's probably the real.
No, that's what they want you to believe, Tom. That's a deception. They have caught you if you believe that. It's like inviting them in, thinking, see, they make out that there's good aliens, bad aliens, and neutral aliens. No, there's good cop, bad cop. They're all the same force. What they want is for us to invite them in. If we invite them in, it gets around the universal laws. Okay, you just can't go and take a planet. That planet has its own destiny. It has all these billions and trillions of life forms. You just can't go and take it. However, if you,
I don't know if you know what we
the
do.
human species.
We specifically go out and practice what's called human initiated contact events, HICE, and we go out and we deliberately and specifically go and make contact. We don't know what it is. We don't know if it's. We don't even call it what it is.
Yeah, I mean, no, we have no names.
Some of the stuff I see, it looks almost spiritual rather than spacey. You know, I wouldn't want to call it at all. But it is interacting back, and it's. I find it to be benevolent. Rather than the opposite.
We've had never had a negative experience with them. It's always been very peaceful, intent.
Okay. Can I just interject just really quickly?
Okay,
Cole, we've got a question. Sorry,
Sorry, Rick. There's a question for you from Dark Angel. How did you start your research? What set you off on this course, Rick?
I had always had an interest in cryptids because I grew up with wildlife. I had a real love for wildlife. That's when I came across the cryptids, and I was just fascinated by them. And once you start down the cryptid path, I could start to see there was something not right about them. I mean, how could Loch Ness contain just one monster? How could a small population endure there? They can't. They can't. And you find this replicated around the world. These lake monsters in the form of plesiosaurs. Do you know how easy that would be for an advanced civilization to genetically engineer? And we're starting to understand the power of genetic engineering. What I'm suggesting is that just genetic engineering has been used as a Psy-Ops to create the aliens, to create the divinities, to create the cryptids, to create the human morphs. That's where I believe this is going. And we could see the power. It's only now that this could all be worked out, because it's only now we understand the power of genetic engineering and the power of technology. So I got into this through cryptids, and it just snowballed on. Until eventually I got to the point that I decided I was going to devote my life to this. This is it. But listen, if anybody could come up with a better theory, if anybody could come up with a better theory and use all the things and not have the bleak picture I paint, I would applaud that. I don't want this to be right. So by all means, if you could find a flaw in it, show me. But it's took years to get to this point, and it's took years to.
I'd like to send you because I have my own theory about all this, and in all fairness, it's not actually dissimilar to yours. It's maybe yours is based as if this is all one thing. Mine would be based that this is actually completely different things. But along the same lines, there is a harvesting intent. There is malevolence behind the scenes, even though we don't see it. We see it as a kind, friendly, or we want to reach out and meet and greet the aliens, and that they probably don't see us the same. They probably see us like a biologist would see an animal in the wild. And I'll send you something. It's probably about 60 pages long. That is my own theory about all this, and it's been pulled from the facts that I've, because there's not many facts surrounding this topic, but there are a few very broad facts and interactions in the past. In the Bible, these encounters were documented definitely in the Bible as spiritual godlike encounters. These ancient people, they didn't have the words, they didn't have the lexicon then to actually put into words. So of course everything was a god. At the moment we're in technological, unbelievable technology. I mean, what a time to be alive, guys. Seriously. I mean, like, it is an unbelievable time to be alive. And we're just starting to recognize this now as technology. Whereas before it was so godlike and spiritual, and it would appear and disappear, and there'd be lights where the ancients, they only had fire as a light, and candles and all these bright lights appearing in the sky and following people and stuff. We're just getting the language to do that now. And one other thing, I really love your theory, I really do, but I don't like picking holes at all. But then you mentioned there about everything being carbon based.
Go for it.
Okay, the carbon based thing. That there's growing support that some of the biologics they've got are actually silicon based. They're not carbon based. They found silicon based life. Okay. So
not single-celled organisms. Single-celled organisms. No. You can't create multicellular life with silicon. It doesn't bond the same as carbon. If you're not made for carbon, you're not in the carbon cycle.
We're talking about whole bodies.
Could I perhaps mention something?
Yes, please.
The whole silicon carbon thing is quite an interesting discussion. When I was doing A-level chemistry many years ago, we actually spoke about this. And the reason why carbon is so unique is it has 4 available bonds, just like silica.
Bonding,
but the binding energy, the energy required to join atoms is far less for carbon than it is for silicon. So that's why on Earth, at least, we see a lot of carbon-based life forms, including us and other animals and plants, rather than silicon-based, because the energy required
every animal group
is less than
exactly. Silicon can't form the long complex bonds that are needed for DNA molecules or that. It can't do the same thing. It's less energetic.
It can in theory, but
just because it could bond before. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. Even though it could bond with 4 other molecules or atoms, it still can't produce the same level of complexity, and it can't do it at the same temperatures and normal everyday temperatures that carbon can. There is simply nothing that could match carbon.
Yes. So we're seeing the same thing in
well, we're actually no, because silicon cannot.
Yeah, I'm saying it can't
create the complex
molecules because the energy of binding for atoms to form the covalent or contravariant bonds is far less for carbon. That's why the carbon readily forms bonds to make these big DNA chains and stuff like that, whereas silicon doesn't. It's because the energy of binding is less.
If the
silicon,
right, so you would agree then that it can't create complexity.
No.
What if it was engineered? What if these pieces of silicon?
Why would you? No. Why would you try something with silicon that simply cannot perform like carbon can? There's a reason that every single living entity on this world is created for carbon. Fungi, plants, animals, the human brain. Oh no, I'm sorry, but see that's where you're getting me. See, you're going back to we've been created by them. You might as well say we've been created by God. This is a deception that you're putting. And it happens all the time. I mean, not to be offensive to Phil or Ian, but they're in connection with the cryptids, and the cryptids are playing the same.
I've got a question. I have got a question. Just 1 minute. Hold on. Right, let's have a look. Question is, I'm sorry to keep you waiting, Ryan. Ryan Green. Hi, guys. Question for Rick. Who is the creator? If God, as people think, isn't the creator of all Earth and its inhabitants. So what do you think, Rick?
Well, that's easy. It's the serpent. It's the serpent. If you read Genesis chapter 3, the serpent was already in the garden and God comes down. Okay? It was the serpent who has two basic shapes, the serpent and the dragon. That's where all life forms come from. The smallest existing capable life form that's able to reproduce and survive in its cell is a single cell. The single cell is a tiny female serpent, and the creator is female. So that's what I believe. So the opposite of God, and it comes out in the Bible because who told the truth? God told Adam and Eve, if they eat the forbidden fruit, they will die the day they eat of it. They ate the serpent says, no, you won't die. They ate the fruit. Who lived and who died? So right away, God cannot be the creator. The creator is the serpent.
You have to understand something, Rick, that the Bible was written as a guide. It was written by people. It's a very good guide for life, everyday life, and for morality. When it talks about the interpretation, when it talks about God saying, if you eat the fruit, then you will die. There's a lot of interpretation that says, yes, indeed, they did. Spiritually, they died. We're talking spiritually here because it's a spiritual book. It's called the Bible.
We have just heard that it was written by humans.
Yes, of course.
We've just heard it's been written by humans. How could it be a spiritual book? In Deuteronomy 2017, God orders the annihilation. Alien humans. Yeah. In Deuteronomy 2017, God orders the annihilation of six nations. Genocide, Phil. What you're seeing happening in the Middle East is Israel following the Bible. Okay? There is nothing, there is no morality that comes from the Bible. We've had the Bible for more than 2,000 years of Christianity, and the world, 2,000 years of Christianity, and look at the state of the world. You think that's a coincidence? And you think it's any coincidence that we're always at war and yet we have all these interactions with these aliens?
No, they're following the.
Sorry, Ian.
It's primarily the Talmud, but it's not Torah. There's a difference between Torah and Talmud. Talmud only became official.
I'm talking about the Bible.
in 1866, after the Marburg trial, where rabbis debated what was superior, Torah or Talmud, and the Talmud would. And the Talmud is the basis of revisionist Jacobean Zionism under the influence of Rabbi Lubavitch, who was a self-proclaimed Messiah in Poland. And the people like Smodrich and the rest cats, these are the Mishalach from the West Bank, the settlers, and they call their little part of Israel Judea. They do not in any way, shape or form see themselves as a part of that state. So, and the Torah was originally
so what's your point? What does that have to do?
What I'm saying is, it's not generated, or the motivation. The motivation is not because it's based on Torah; it's based on the teaching of the Talmud, and a lot of them are followers of the rabbi, or the preeminent rabbi was Lubavitch from Poland. That's the motivation for what they're doing at the moment.
What does that have to do with? What does that have to do with 2.2 billion Christians? What book did they follow? The Old Testament, the New Testament. You're picking hairs in it. It doesn't work.
The original Christian
hangs in tatters. We're about to erupt into a nuclear war.
The original Christian movement was based on Ebionite.
There's going to be a harvest.
On Ebionism, on the Ebionite movement, the way.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It does matter if you wish to specify
Revelation says
the type of religious scripture that they were following.
Look, God orders genocide. He ordered the infanticide of the Egyptians. Okay.
Right, Ian. What is the? Can you just
these atrocities?
Rick, hold on a minute, Rick. Right, Ian? What was the point you were making? Without anyone saying it, let Ian have his say.
When you talk within the Jewish community, when you talk about the Bible or the Bible that they're following, that for the basis that they think they have the right to commit democide in Gaza, well, it's specifically based on the Talmud, not Torah, which is the Old Testament, the Septuagint, which was written over a period of 200 years by 4 different scribes in Alexandria, as ordered by the Ptolemy pharaohs. And in 1866,
and
St. Paul invented Christianity. That's why he split. And he was a member of the Herodian royal family.
No.
Yes, he was.
Wait, Christianity, everything in Christianity is floated on the idea that Jesus was resurrected. Okay? That started 2,000 years ago. You could say it's this interpretation of that, but at the end of the day, you have 2.2 billion Christians who are divided into Orthodox, Catholic, Protestant. They are then further divided again, and then they're further divided again by nationality. There's a reason why the atrocities that have been committed by Western nations, they have committed it because they read it in the Bible. There's no way to separate it. This isn't some morally superior book. This is wickedness. What happens is that people just select what they want, unaware that the depth of what's going into your psyche. I mean, where do you think Hitler got the idea to annihilate the Jews? Where do you think that came from? Did you know that Joseph Stalin trained to be an Orthodox priest?
Yeah.
Its tentacles are everywhere. Look, Ian, I went to St. Andrews to take a scholarship in biblical studies, okay? That's how thingy I was to finding this out.
Yeah, but when it comes specifically to Judaism is, I mean, there's about 7 different Hasidic groups in Jerusalem, and they all hate each other.
Yeah, that's right. There's exactly the division I'm talking about.
You see what you have today in Israel. You have secular Israeli, which are subgroup Heroni Jews. You have Ashkenazim. You have Hasidic, which are Torah, not Talmudic Jews. the Mishrak or Mishraim, the settlers in the West Bank, the Zionist and the Mishrak, Zionism is a political ideology that has nothing to do with Judaism whatsoever. Now, the Mishrak, the people
is there
that
genocide getting committed in Gaza, Ian?
You wish.
Is there genocide being committed in Gaza?
The
same genocide that is ordered by God in the Bible.
They're committing democide.
Yes,
Now,
it's indefensible. Do you know that God orders David's wife to be raped? Do you know that God orders David's wife to be raped? What sort of God does that?
Now, the God...
And then you wonder why when these countries invade other countries, they use rape as a tool of terror. Where do you think that came from?
The people currently in vogue, the Talmud, that support Netanyahu and their revisionist Zionist coalition, they follow the Talmud, not the Torah. There's a big difference. That's why you had the trial in Marburg in 1866. What was
Is there really a big difference? Is the state of Israel annihilating the Palestinians? Yes or no? So you're okay with Israel doing what they're doing in Palestine? You're okay with that? You see what's happening. You're watching what's happening. Christianity on one side, Islam on the other.
You originally posited about religious works. I just wanted to clarify the current religious work in vogue in Israel since 1948. I never mentioned about what current Israeli internal policy is or what it's good for or whether they're justified or not.
Right.
I was just really saying that they use the Talmud, not the Torah, which is a Septuagint, which even in of itself was rewritten after the Jewish War in 77 AD. Talmudic rabbinical Judaism was founded in Caesarea in 87 AD by Rabbi Ben Zakkai to make it more pro-Roman, as opposed to being an Ebionite form of Judaism.
Right. Okay. Now, also, I've got to mention, guys. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate that. I've got to mention something. Hang on. I've got to mention something, and that is, we're not going to be talking about current politics. We're not going to be talking about the current state of affairs in the world at the moment, because it's not our right to do so, and it's something that we really should not be appointing ourselves as a judge and jury over what is going on in the world at the moment. This is a show which is about your theory, Rick, and it's a show which everyone is watching because they love the paranormal, they love cryptids, and I'm just getting it back onto the rails again, okay, before we go down the route of politics. Got a question here. Anyone, this is for anyone. Are the lake monsters and thunderbirds surviving plesiosaurs and how'd you say that, Colin?
I don't know. I'm trying to say it myself.
That's pterodactyls.
Pterodactyls.
Is it
alien hybrids like Bigfoot?
Pterodactyls.
Oh, is it pterodactyls? Thank you. Thanks, Rick.
I thought I spelled a different pterodactyl.
Yeah, there's quite a few. A lot of those have been seen down in southern Asia.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, right, yeah. Thunderbirds. I saw a program recently about thunderbirds, and there's surprisingly quite a few sightings of those in the States. Yeah.
Could we all agree to disagree here? I know is everyone on board that this is science, religion, consciousness, UFOs, cryptids, EMEs, it's all related.
It's a big leap to assume the Bible is
I agree.
The one and only holy book.
I think
quite clearly written.
I think this is part of Jesus. This is part of the deception to.
But it's no. Yeah, it's no.
But it is. You two have just spent 10 minutes
all major
arguing
religions
over
have the same source, and they're playing against each other.
and we're talking about the same subject.
There might be a 2,000
Yeah,
year
because
deception, but it could be man-made.
Yeah.
To link it to the UFO topic, I think is really dangerous. I think potentially, I mean, it's grasping at straws. Particularly, I mean, tell that to anybody who doesn't believe in the Bible. It's one of many, many books, many, many stories. You know, historically, it's a content. It's explaining things, interactions, possibly, but they've been misinterpreted by men who chose to deceive people. And I think having a discussion about a 2,000-year deception and the culminating scenes we see in Gaza at the moment is a completely different show altogether.
The books all describe, all three of them, like they describe the same thing from different angles. Definitely.
And I'm trying desperately to steer clear, right, guys, of something of stuff which is going to send us down a rabbit hole, which is a never-ending kind of argument. You know, I mean, you know, people have fought wars over religion, so let's not. Although saying that, what are you people at home thinking of? What you're doing? I've got more questions about the Bible. Right, a quick one here. Rick, the Serpent of Eden was bipedal, male. Could you talk? Male could talk. Sorry, could chase Adam and maybe impregnated Eve. What do you think to that?
I think that's just one of the many wrong interpretations. The serpent's female. There's nothing about being bipedal. The serpent goes to Eve and says, "What did God say to you?" There's nothing about being bipedal. However, there are some interpretations that set off different religions in different ways by certain interpretations. But the serpent represents the creator of the universe. What you're seeing in Genesis is the replacement of the original creator by the gods. That's why it says the serpent was kicked out of Eden, that we no longer regard her as a creator. That's what that means, in my opinion.
Okay, I'll leave that one for Cole to read out. This one.
I'll let you do that one. Get my head around it. No, go on, sorry.
What is your opinion of the Nephilim hybrids from Genesis 6? Genesis 6. Enoch, Jashar, Jubilee, Giants, question mark, RE reference Gary Wayne. That's from PwC.
They're all genetically engineered entities. They're all genetically engineered entities, just a different way to claim it. They were created by God, by the aliens. So they're genetically engineered. The giants that were supposedly to be killed in the flood but survived, the giants that have been seen in Kandahar, all are genetically engineered. All these entities come from the same source and are being played against each other with different nations following them. There's a reason why we're starting to see more reports of giants, cryptids, all sorts of strange entities. It's about ramping up the tension, ramping up the fear. That's what they're doing. They can manipulate humanity if we're in more fear.
Right, Rick, can I ask you something?
So
I've read your theory quite a few times now, Rick. I've read it quite a few times, and we have spoken at great length in the past. We're going back over a year ago, year and a half, maybe, I think now. And there's one thing that I cannot understand yet, and that is this. What is your end game? What is your end game with this theory, with this referencing, with this work you put in? What is your want or need for coming on the show, for coming up with this theory? What is your end game? What do you want to do with it? Where do you want it to go?
To go absolutely public, to tell the people of the world, this is what's going on. This is who these aliens are. This is what the cryptids are. This is all this strange paranormal, the shadow entities. This is what they are. They're getting ready for something to happen. And I believe it will end in some sort of nuclear war where, or at least a nuclear launch, where the UFOs will intercept the majority of them, and then they will offer us, do we want to be governed by them? If we say we want to be governed by them, then we are handing over the planet to them. That's how they intend to get it. You see, they're going for immortality. You can only stay on one planet Earth so long, and then the sun, the star, will inflate and consume their planet. If they want true immortality, they have to find another planet Earth. They will stay on that for hundreds of millions of years and then move on to another one. As the universe is continually evolving and creating new planets. Now, let's just assume for 1 minute that life is only found on planets, Earths that orbit yellow dwarfs. There are yellow dwarfs in this universe that are almost a billion years older than what we are. That means if there's any civilizations on them, they could be tens of millions, perhaps hundreds of millions of years more advanced than us. So I am prepared to take the slaughter that's coming to me in order to put this out here, because there's only one chance, we only have one hope, and that's we need help.
Right, this may annoy
but if we go down
you.
the line inviting them in, then it's finished for us. It's over.
This is going to annoy you, but I've got to ask. Okay. Now, when people say to me, right,
go for it, Phil.
Why do you obsess so much, Phil, about Dogman? I say, well, because I've seen it. Now, I like J.R.R. Tolkien. I like Lord of the Rings. I think it's brilliant. Because you know why I like it? Is because it's a fiction that has been embroidered, and it is so all-encompassing and inclusive, and it's a world which has been created with finite detail. But you can't prove it's there, and we know it's not there. And we know that it's a story, a ruddy good yarn, as they would say a few years ago. But we know that's what it is. Are you afraid, or are you worried that people will read into your theory and go, cool, that's a ruddy good yarn? Because, hey, Rick, can you prove any of this?
No, this is what's called it. This is why it's a theory, Phil. This is why the theory comes before proof. What I'm trying to do is put out an option that makes sense of all these bizarre things that are going on in the world. Okay? There has to be one defining truth to explain it all. So this is what I'm staying forward for. And if you could take it apart and prove me wrong, by all means, do it. Because I don't want this to be correct. Okay? Because what do you think they're going to do to me?
I don't want to pick it apart. I think you've hit a lot of things right on the head. I think what we are going to find is that it's not all the same thing. That I'm going to give you guys an example now, and hopefully Matt and any other guys that have heard this story. It's come out over the past 11 months. A physicist from CERN came forward 11 months ago and said that they'd been messing around in the laboratories there, and they've managed to open up to 17 dimensions. It's through the portal. One day she's give a statement. Something came through one of these 17 dimensions and stole a scarf. It came through and stole a scarf. Now that's to me, that would suggest there is a massive dimensional aspect to this. However, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that some of this is coming interplanetary, and that's been the consensus for years, that this is alien, that it's from other worlds. Your theory's great. I just can't help but think it's not all the same. It doesn't seem at the moment to be all fitting under that one umbrella. And I think that's a lot of the problem that they've had, is being able to explain. They've been able to explain some of this stuff, They haven't been able to explain all of this. And I think the dimensional stuff is the stuff that they've been stuck on. I think your cryptids, your EMEs, so some of the demonic stuff you'll be looking at your dimensional the dimensional aspect to it, whereas some of the alien stuff and would be interplanetary, not dimensional. But seemingly all of it you can contact through consciousness. Seemingly all of it.
Yeah. Right, I've just got a question here that's come up on the screen, and it's for Rick, and it's from PW7457. Rick, if you sent your theory hypothesis, I can't even say it, to be a peer reviewed, what do you think the response would be?
They would reject it emphatically.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't for scientists. This is for the masses of the people of the world, because it's them that's going on. We all know that UFOs and cryptids exist. You go to any scientist and they'll tell you absolutely point blank they do not exist because we didn't have the proof. They didn't see circumstantial evidence like, say, thousands and thousands of people sharing these experiences, even though 2 witnesses go to court and it's taken as law. So no, they would reject what I said. But I'm more interested in what they've got to say about it. Because if you want to see a closed mind, if you want to see a closed mind sect that's almost religious in its fanaticism, you look at science. So as much as I respect science and hopefully try to use it the right way, do I think scientists will accept this? Of course not. Absolutely.
I agree.
Matt,
I'm
yes,
because I can't have the proof.
Matt,
have you ever seen a UFO, cryptid, a god, angel, or a demonic, anything morphed, or an electromagnetic entity? Have you ever seen anything?
no,
Would you like to?
yes.
Would you like to come out with us one night?
Stop.
Just to make
Just stop. Just stop. Just stop right there. Just stop right there. Just stop right there, okay? I have had an encounter with shadow people, all right? Twice in the morning I woke up to it strangling me, all right? I've had other experiences, but I didn't have to have Phil's experiences with the Dogman or Ian's experience to know they're real.
Oh, no.
Astronomers study space, yet never go to space. So I didn't need that. Going out with you, why would I want to be pulled into the same deception that you're in, Chris? At some point, you're going to wake up and realise you're being deceived, as is Ian, as is Phil. And I mean that in the nicest possible way, because I know they're genuine about what's going on to them. Because they have no idea what's in the background, what's manipulating these dogmen to manipulate them.
I'm fully aware that we are being
manipulated
deceived.
the same.
I'm fully aware that we are being deceived. Have no illusion. But Matt, have you?
And yet you still go along with it.
No. We do contact experiences. We do a lot of filming stuff. Yeah, I've exactly like you, Rick.
Where's your proof?
Where's your proof?
So, Rick, do I take it you reject the theory of evolution?
No. Evolution, look, this is what I believe, that the aliens have split evolution into creation into 2 different things where really they merge. The creator created the very first single-celled entity, then the laws of evolution come into play. So there was still life has existed on this planet for 3.5 billion years, okay? They've divided up to religion and science in order to confuse. The truth is, it's a blend of both, creation and evolution. That very first cell had to be programmed. DNA is so complex it could not arise by statistical chance. That's just laughable once you start to get into it.
Well,
it's impossible. It's more complex than any computer code. It's more.
Evolution isn't all about statistical chance. There is a random element.
I know
in it.
It's not.
But it's to do with mutations in the genome from generation to generation, and those mutations that cause reproductive success in groups of in populations will change the population over generations. Your claim about DNA being too complicated to arise by chance, well, we don't know, is the scientific answer, and my guess is probably not. My guess is you'd get the building blocks of thymine, atrazine, and all these other, and the other two which I forget at the moment, combining in such a way due to the laws of physics, and then creating more complex molecules from that. That's what I suspect we as scientists will find how DNA was created. There's a hypothesis called the RNA world, that RNA came before DNA, and that's how the complexity. That's how the complexity built up. But I'm skeptical that the claim DNA and RNA is so complicated that it couldn't have possibly be formed is true. I think there are mechanisms which we don't currently understand, which is fine, because there are lots of things that we don't understand in science. That's why we keep doing science. And in time, we will discover mechanisms that created RNA and DNA.
So the 4 letters of DNA are A, T, C, and G. Now, Applied Molecular Evolution in Florida have successfully added 4 new bases using the Hachimoto DNA. 8-letter DNA in Japanese, basically.
Well, if you listen to
information, hang on.
If you
doubling
listen
the potential information, doubling the potential, and this is not aliens, unless you think that these are alien manipulations. Doubling the potential information density of genetic code. Hachimoto DNA, however, uses hydrogen bonds, just like natural DNA, to link its 2 new pairs, S with B and P with Z. And the bases are also capable of appearing next to each other. Because DNA is read in triplets of bases called codons, each of which codes for a particular amino acid. This significantly increases the number of potential codons compared to the previous approach. 512 compared to the conventional DNA 64. So are we talking it's alien hybrids in a lab that have just done that, added to DNA?
I'm
It's
not
a
sure what you
manipulation
mean.
of DNA.
Look, if it's another planet Earth, yeah, it's a manipulation of DNA, but you didn't need to bring in anything like that. There's enough to look. This is what I believe a reptilian is. A reptilian starts out as a human genome and is spliced with reptilian features. A dogman starts out as a human genome, is spliced with wolf features. A Sasquatch starts out as a human genome and is spliced with ape features. Now, in 2022, the first transplant from a pig's heart to a human occurred. That pig has to be a chimera in some sense. Okay, because for the heart to operate in the human, we're already breaching these things. If that's what we could do, what could a civilization that's only 10,000 years more advanced than us do? Instead of a pig heart, what about a pig face? You know, the pig man who can't chase. It comes back to the same thing. Instead of trying to all these fancy things, start out with a human genome and splice in the features you're looking for. And you will be able to explain, look at the mythology, the Minotaur. Instead of a wolf head, put a bull's head. We're just starting to understand
the spark of
the depth, the power of genetic engineering. And it is the only thing.
Rick, the spark of evolution, let's get back to evolution. And Matt was on the right, exactly right. But the spark of evolution is necessity and environment. So let's take the giraffe. Simplify things a little bit. I'm not talking aliens, talking giraffe. So some would say, why has a giraffe got such a long neck? Well, because its chosen food is up on high in a tree. Would you say so? Well, now, biologists, why do you think it is? Why do you think a giraffe's neck's so long? Oh, I'll answer.
So that it can occupy a niche feeding that other animals can't reach to.
Because of necessity and because of environment. It lives on open plains. It had a long neck.
Yeah, it could fill a niche.
So that it could see a greater distance for predators. We have things.
That's one of the benefits of a longer neck, yeah.
So we have things like necessity. So a lot of people think, hang on a minute, a lion doesn't eat berries. Well, yeah, it does actually. A tiger does too. Just because there's no such thing as carnivores and herbivores. There's no such thing. They don't exist anymore. You can't partition those two off and segregate them off, because a carnivore will, under necessity, eat fruit to exist. It's been proven. There's been a giraffe that was witnessed to eat a dead fox. A fox that was passed away, who was eating it. Necessity. So what happens in evolution?
Perhaps it was craving nutrients.
Yeah,
perhaps it was craving nutrients, Phil. I mean, these are statistically insignificant examples you're given.
Yeah,
they're not really. I didn't need to go for here. Giraffes have a long neck because they can reach a feeding station that no other herbivores can reach. And the advantage of a long neck is it can see across the plains. But I got the long neck to reach the food source that no other animal can reach. That's why it has a long neck.
What I'm trying to say is there's
and how does evolution explain how do
what?
Yeah, and then you just showed one. Tell me something, Phil. How did dogmen? How do dogmen exist? Tell me how dogmen have come into existence.
How they came into existence? They've been here for absolute millennia.
Yeah. Where did they come from?
Well, definitely not from a UFO.
And where's your proof of that?
Oh, absolutely. I'll tell you what I find fascinating about UFOs.
How can you say that for sure?
Oh, I'll tell you why. Because
dodge the Dogman question, Phil. That's what today. Dodge the Dogman question.
If you let me finish, just hang on. The reason is because for all of the witness sightings of aliens, all of the interactions they have, boy, are aliens stupid. They are one of the. I hope that I meet one. I hope I meet.
Like an animal made from silicon.
How could you have that technology? How can you have? How can you have that technology and say they're stupid? That's a ridiculous statement to say.
I'll tell you what.
That's a ridiculous statement, Phil. You're not doing yourself any favours here.
No. I'll tell you. Right, and I hope I meet one. I really do. I'd love to. Because they seem to stumble, they seem to have no understanding at all of us, none at all. For all their technology, They seem
just
to
nonsense. That's
appear
just utter
in so
rubbish,
many
utter
different.
rubbish.
It's like the Flatwoods monster with the big head, like a big helmet, you know. And they appear in so many guises, and you
Yeah.
think to yourself, "Hang on a
Yeah.
minute, why are they appearing?"
Do
in
you
so many
believe that happened?
Well, yeah, no. I'm
Mhm.
filling in the gaps for you. I'm filling in the gaps for you. They have different guises because there's different
You're
races.
not really, Phil.
I'm right, aren't I? So there's different races.
Yes,
But they're
well,
all
That's the deception. That's the deception.
What's the deception then? What they
So
they
you're
look
saying,
all
so you're
completely
saying
different
that
because
stupid entities that have giant
course.
UFOs that can teleport in and teleport out are stupid. Is that the claim you're making? That's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
How could
well,
you
it's
have
not a
that
claim.
technology and
not
not
a
be
claim.
super intelligent?
It's not a claim. It's a statement. They are. They every time someone has an interaction with them, they can't they can't piece together.
You want to jump in here, Chris, instead of letting me deal with this? I mean, do you think they're stupid, Chris?
Rick, a minute. Wait. Hold on. Let me say my piece, Rick. Okay. The reason I say that is because every time someone has an interaction, let's say Men in Black, well, they appeared at the door. Oh yeah, okay, and they sounded really awkward, and they sounded almost like robotic, and they really didn't know how to hold themselves. They're very, very awkward. They didn't know how to come across in a human nature way. They didn't know how to communicate.
I was just going to say on the back of that exactly that they would be akin to like a fucking biologist looking at a gazelle in the wild. Like they would interact as little as possible. Probably they wouldn't seem human. We look at everything through human. What's it called? Anthropomorphize everything. We look at everything through human eyes. You know. I'll say that. And we would do the same to them because they look the same. But maybe they're not programmed. They would be super intelligent for what they're designed to do. And it's obviously they're not designed to be emotional like we are, regardless of what they're not loving entities. So maybe they would come across not stupid as stupid is, like unintelligent, but more like unemotional stupid, thick as a brick, but like 2000 IQ. I bet like some of the professors you've met, Matt.
Yeah.
2000 IQ, but thick as pig crap, you know. Can't tie their bloody laces, sort of thing. So I get it. So in a way, I think you're both right. It's like that they could not, absolutely no way on God's earth, be stupid, but definitely come across as unhuman, unemotional, and almost.
Have you ever considered?
Can I just say something? I mean, I don't know why, but it's in my mind.
Have you ever stopped to consider that might be? Go for it, Colin.
What's that, Colin? Go on, Cole. You're going to say something.
Well, obviously UFO is not my forum really. I do follow it, and I have followed it for years, but I'm more cryptozoologist. But what comes in my mind years ago, if these things are so intelligent, why do the UFOs crash? Why?
I think
I'll tell you why they crash. Two reasons. One, they pass technology. They pass technology onto the nation they crash in, and also they use different alien types and different craft in order to put forward the idea that there's different nations. There's no way you can travel to this earth across the galaxy, across the galaxy. You cannot have that technology that could traverse the universe and then crash on Earth. That's simply impossible. What happens is, just as the aliens have given us technology for thousands of years, unless they've done it on purpose, so they crash them on purpose or allow themselves to be shot down, and then when they find the body, some
Basil, out.
Times living boys, they're finding different types of aliens. So the Chinese maybe find clashes with a certain type of alien, and America's maybe got a different type of alien, and it all reinforces the idea that there's some sort of intergalactic federation out there. It's not. It's
You
part of the
agree with that,
deception.
Chris?
That's
You
what crashes are
agree with
about,
that?
in my
Well,
opinion.
I'm on board with that. This is multiple things. That some of it, like the dimensional stuff, especially, that could be one thing coming through as many. So, like your Bigfoot, your Yeti in another country, you get like the Dogman in England. You know, you got your cryptids all over the world, but they seem to be coming through. They're not coming from a spaceship from outer space, are they? So there's more than one. There has to be more than one. One thing going on here, which would give, and that's probably
what's your rationale for?
Go on,
yeah, the rationale for that.
Sorry, I missed that.
The rationale for that is that craft. They have been seen going in and out of like portals or in the sky, but they've also been plotted going in and out of space towards planets. Yeah. So they're not coming. They don't seem to be coming through.
I would agree with that.
Your dimensional portals on the planet or at ground level, if you like, where you're seeing the cryptids. They're two different things. They're absolutely two different things. At the moment, you wouldn't convince me otherwise. That there's more than one thing going on here.
Consider this, Chris. If you listen to what my theory is for 13 minutes,
I need to listen
have
to
to say
it
done by
properly.
I
need to listen to that properly. I've only listened to it once.
Listen. I mean, that's fair enough. But how do you know they're coming through portals? They may look as though they're coming through portals. How do you know they're just entering through some sort of teleportal thing?
Well, we call it
look at the
portals.
amount of times witnesses have had encounters with cryptids. Yeah, but you don't know that the portals exist other than being artificial engineered. What I'm saying to you is what you're terming as a portal.
We are stuck on language, Rick. We're talking portals, dimensions. We're talking things that we don't know what we're talking about. So this could be as simple as this stuff is
speak for yourself, Chris.
Inside our visual range, say. Yeah. So it's living in the infrared range where we can't see it. That's a dimensional aspect. It's not coming through a portal. It's just out of our visual range. But that still makes it a dimensional.
Yeah, but you didn't have to be.
It's not.
Yeah, it doesn't. It actually doesn't. What it means is that it's just in a different range of the electromagnetic spectrum. Okay. If you infrared is on this end of the spectrum, radio waves are this. I'm sure Mark would agree with that.
Yeah.
If it's an infrared, that means we can't pick up infrared.
Yeah.
So it's on a different wavelength of the spectrum. Nothing about portals. Portals didn't explain that. Look, you can't. The only place that there have been portals discovered by NASA have been hundreds of miles above the Earth. Okay, that's so. And the only thing that could come through them is solar energy.
Not according to CERN now, by the way.
Okay, there has been no portal. Well, that might be the case, but CERN's something different. But you can't show me any place in the world where there's a natural occurring portal.
Oh no,
what
no,
do you
no,
think is a portal?
I've never seen one either. I've never.
These aliens.
It's a word. Portal is a word.
By what measure do you judge them?
It's a word. It could
but by what measure do you judge them?
How do you mean?
Well, when we're talking about portal, we're talking about some sort of hole in reality that someone's coming through. I'm saying to you, I don't think any of them will ever be found on Earth, because I don't see how nature would allow that to happen. This is a closed system. Planet Earth shouldn't be having other things coming into it. If you had portals opening up all over the place, there would be other life forms coming through. That's not
Rick, I've seen the portal.
Yeah,
I've seen a portal.
but they're being engineered by the aliens.
No, they're not.
They're no true natural portals.
No, they're not. I've
They're
seen a
being
portal.
engineered, opening up. And
I've seen.
They're
Rick,
two
do you want to see a
well, you
portal?
could have seen one. That doesn't disprove what I'm saying.
Rick,
You could
do you want
have
to see a
seen one,
portal?
but I'm saying they're engineered. Just as you.
Well, look, do you want to see a portal? Who wants to see a portal?
Yeah.
Anyone want to see a portal? I want to see a
Love
portal.
to.
I've seen a portal. So
Go for it.
I think we've got unanimous there. Everyone wants to see a portal. Well, the best thing to do is to look up the Hubble Space Telescope, and one of our close neighbouring clap star, basically, is now a black hole. Many millions of billions of years ago. And if you look at a black hole, what is a black hole?
These things in space, Phil. These things
Yeah, I
that
know,
are
but
in
what-
space.
it's
Is
a
that what you're
portal,
talking about?
Rick.
Oh,
It's a
but I acknowledge portals exist. NASA's already discovered portals above the Earth. What I'm saying is everything that is being termed as a portal on Earth is being generated by the aliens. And if they're able to teleport, if they're able to blink in and out of existence, and the cryptids are able to do it, then that infers they have the technology to create what you describe as a portal.
It could be
Right.
You can't show me an actual portal on the Earth.
No, no, well, that's the thing. See, Rick, I can no more show you a portal on Earth at the moment than you can prove any of what you say. And I'm not being nasty on this. I'm saying I would like to see some kind of.
No, I know you're not, because I can see the same. You fell about the Dogman.
over the flash.
I know, but I'd like to see some basis. I talk about Dogman because I've seen one. Now, alas to say, I've seen it, and it's been a lot of these things, like with alien, like when you see UFOs, very, very often, when you have an outstanding view of a UFO, or you have an outstanding view of a Dogman, it's a very personal thing. It's a very almost a one-on-one communication. It shows itself not in the middle of some car park. It doesn't show itself in the middle of some shopping mall. It's a very personal, and at the time when you're viewing this, you do note that they're almost showing themselves because they believe that, or because you're viewing them, you're witnessing it, they want to show themselves to you. And I think that is something that you have really got to get out there and witness for yourself, because theories are great. I'm bringing out a book, and my book, I think, will contradict your theory, but there is similarities. There is similarities. After reading your theory, there is similarities we have. But
Tom may be able to get a picture of his hands on a picture of a portal.
Oh, yeah, you may indeed get what looks like a portal, what you understand to be a portal, but what I'm saying is that portal, that hole, is being engineered by the aliens. I'm not disputing portals, just as I'm not disputing Phil sees Dogman. I know Phil sees them, I know Ian sees them. I didn't need proof, I believe what they're saying.
So why don't the UFOs come from the fabric of space like a portal? Why do they seem to be coming and bouncing off the moons and the planets, going in and out of the solar system? What they're talking about? They've spoken about an intergalactic highway now for the past 50 years that they've been watching, and they don't come through portals.
Yeah.
So they're
that's right. Some of them don't. Some of them teleport in and out.
These are different.
They engineer portals. They could teleport in and out. These are all things that are based in science. Relatively allows for certain things like wormholes and that. You know, I'm not saying that these things aren't happening. I'm saying they're being done purposely in order to create so many different scenarios with so many different alien types, with so many different craft types, in order to create a mishmash information that breaks nations into nations, groups into groups. It's all going on. I mean, what was the last claim Arthur alien types? Was it something like 87 or over the 100? They're all engineered. It'll become to be proved that these aliens that are behind us is another group of humans from another planet Earth. That's who's behind it all. Now, I understand if right at this moment, this is, no, I can't see this. But this is just my opening gambit. I mean, I'm writing. I mean, I'm trying to get it out. I mean, there's only so much I can say at this time, and I have to be respectful of what's going on. I mean, I didn't doubt what any of you are saying. That's what's going on for you. All I'm saying is that it all goes back to the same source. I mean, Phil, you've still not told me where you think Dogman come from. You've told me they've been around for ages before us.
Yeah, I think
you've still not told me what you think they are.
If you're my honest opinion, I think Dogman and Bigfoot. Oops, sorry what that was. I think they're naturally indigenous to the planet. I think that they've been around.
Can I counter?
Oh, hang on, I'll drop the speaker. What's that? Sorry, mate.
What was that?
Well, just drop the speaker. 1 minute.
Matt, what do you make of all this as a scientist?
As a scientist, I'm skeptical. Somebody mentioned about certain activate.
I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked, Matt.
To 16 dimensions. No, they didn't. What CERN does is they crash atoms together at speeds very close to the speed of light. So they're looking for the results of those collisions to infer physics. Now, one way to infer extra dimensions is if the mass before the collision is less than is greater than the mass after the collisions, indicating that those particles have gone into those other higher dimensions.
Yes. Yeah.
That's how we would possibly infer that we're dealing in a high dimensional theory of gravity, for example. Okay. That's how we would infer extra dimensions. Scientists don't just access extra dimensions.
No, but I'm definitely going to forward you this professor's information. I might even have a chat with you, Phil, afterwards. Just maybe have a chat with this woman to try and get her on to explain her case. She thinks that they've exactly what you've just said. You can't just switch. They've spoken now that they maybe have found a way to do that. That may be actually a thing.
I don't like the fact when people keep putting forward the case of dimensions. Another dimension. If there was another dimension to come into our dimension, it would be like someone getting a box of billiard balls and putting them on a table with a triangle full of billiard balls already on the table. It would just scatter everywhere. There'd be too much mass. It'd be with the advent of gravity, it would just disperse everything and things would be just ping-ponging along. You can't put any more water into a full cup.
Yeah. So I mean, the idea of the dimensionality of space and time comes through our theory of gravity. Notably, Einstein was the first person to really understand just how what space-time is. But people have since considered higher dimensions of gravity. The first two people to do this was Klutz and Klein, and they included a very small fifth dimension, which they thought that's how you could get electromagnetism from, just by considering a next high-dimensional space-time, for example. But that turned out not to be, because it wasn't compatible with quantum mechanics. So there's that. But high-dimensional physics is taken seriously. It's only taken seriously via theoreticians. Experimentally, 4 dimensions work fine. And
so
I will say
the fourth dimension is time. Yeah, the fourth dimension is time.
Yeah.
Or
so
which
I
goes hand in hand with gravity.
I will say that if portals are the same as wormholes, then they will leave a gravitational signature, because wormholes and black holes, they're very warped regions of space-time, and if you get a portal, then the gravity around that portal or wormhole will change, and if you don't see that, then that's evidence that these portal things or wormholes don't occur. So there's always a way to say, if these portals happen, then we should expect this, this, and this. And as far as I'm aware, we don't. So yeah. So that's
so the biggest thing CERN is doing is obviously the particles of life, the genesis particles. I'm not talking Higgs boson. They already know that Higgs boson. What they're trying to do really is create, and they are. I read in a paper they're creating black holes, mini black holes. That's what they're essentially trying to do. In CERN, I'll send you the paper through, Matt.
Okay.
But very interesting, very interesting. But
I've just spent a little bit of time looking for this doctor. She's a Swiss scientist who works at CERN. She works in their nuclear program, which is separate to the Big Bang Machine. Who told that they are working with 17 different dimensions of reality or more. Dr. Stockelberger is a scientist and expert in international health. She holds a PhD, teaches at the University of Geneva, 20 years experience. She claims a portal was opened underneath away from the Big Bang Machine while they've been working with these dimensions. Something came out of the experiment and took a scarf back into the experiment. So she's now given several interviews regarding this. I believe she's open for possibly interviews or being approached regarding this story. So I don't know. I'll pass you her details, Phil. But that's where it's come from.
Get her on the show, Phil. Get her on the show.
Yep, we get 1 hour 45. Yeah, one question, please. We've got from PW7457. Question: anyone? What do you think of Troll's tabernacle theory? In brackets, Bigfoot is the god Pan. Mount Hermon, Shiva, which is quite apt actually if you're talking about CERN, and Mount Kalash, etc.
Kalash in it, I think.
So yeah, what do we think about those?
I think Bigfoot's a bit too big to be the god
Go for
Pan.
it, Colin.
You know, Pan's something of a little devil.
Yeah.
And she was supposed to be a bit of a hottie, isn't she?
I had an experience several years ago. I've spoken to you about it extensively, Phil. I have met a Shiva type entity as one of my experiences. She was bright, psychedelic blue, and sat in my front room for about 5 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah.
But
so, anyone, what do you think of Shiva? I know Shiva is absolutely and categorically real, 100%. I've seen that entity with my own eyes in my own front room.
I prefer to meet Parvati, but still.
Yeah. Right. The chat has got quite a few questions. So interesting part 2 of this. Yeah. Right. I think I'd like to start wrapping up. I'll tell you what, it's coming up to 2 hours. Can I is everyone willing to sort of like give one while we have Rick on, just one last question for Rick from everybody, and like kind of, you know, just like a compacted question. My first one is be to Rick. I would just really like to ask him, is there any way that we can know? Is there any way that we can detect these, if there's alien hybrids around us here now? Is there any way that you can advise us to help us to detect them, to know who's who?
Listen, if they want to hide these entities in the public, they're hiding them already. They're stationed at all different levels through humanity, and when the big day comes, when they invade, they will act on the orders that they have been given to act on. You can't look, Phil. Like I say, they're another species of human. They are identical to us. There is no way to know the difference. Sometimes with entities like the Bigfoot or the Dogman that carry these extra powers, so you could feel the oppressive atmosphere, the silence that comes with them because electromagnetic energy is interfering with the surroundings. But aside from that, you couldn't tell the difference between one of them and one of us if they wanted to keep it undercover.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
So, no.
Anyone else? Any question before we go?
I'd like to know what are your next plans with your theory, Rick? What are you going to do? How are you going to present this? How can you get this out there?
Well, look, Chris. These are my first steps, Ryan. So I hope, if nothing else, no matter whether you agree with me or not, you could see this is me prepared to go out there and prepared to take on people that are researchers in their own field and try to show what it is. So I'm writing it. I'm writing it. I'm writing at the moment. I'm going to start my own channel, but you know, things like this with people like Phil, Colin, Ian, you know, meeting yourselves. This is me in the process of starting. This is what I'm trying to do.
Good. I'll keep an eye out for you, definitely. Good luck.
Yeah, for sure. Link, Rick. You get your channel out. You know?
Rick, can I ask a question? Are we still on, or what's happening? Hello?
I don't have a question. I'm good.
I've got one. Rick, do you think non-biological intelligence, i.e., IE or machinery, could ever overtake us and the aliens? Do you think it could ever evolve to overtake us, AI?
I'm sure that these alien humans have AI that produced AI, that produced some of the things they can do now. If it was going to happen, this is why I don't fear AI like a lot of other people do, because if it was going to get out of control, it would have happened to these other humans. They seem to be on top of it. So there's a... Sorry?
You're breaking up there, Rick.
I didn't hear that.
No. I need to answer another question as well, Phil, if you don't mind. Not to Rick. Is it PL 7457 put a question up earlier on about hyenas?
Yeah.
Well, my theory is he put like there is no hyenas and there never have been in British Isles. I started off when I was 14 because I saw an hyena. This is how my sort of like career spanned when I was 14. But I have interviewed, I think it's about 8 or 9 people, and they all seem to be on the coast around Britain. And they've all seen a hyena type of creature. So, you know, I don't know if it's just related to the coast or does anybody know it's actually inland as well? Like I say, all the reports I've had and people I've interviewed have all been on the coast. So I don't know if that answers his question, but they're definitely seen out there. But they only seem to be on the coast. Does anybody else have any theories on this?
It wouldn't surprise me if there's some sort of residual population hanging around out there somewhere. For
Well,
sure.
like I say, Ian, my first ever sighting when I was 14. So
I just wouldn't past. It's like getting back to the Tasmanian tiger. Since 2011, there's a whole bunch of videos and photographs been popping up, but some of the do-gooders out there still say they're all extinct. But
well, I reckon they still exist though. But yeah, I'd like to know if anybody else has seen any hyena type creatures. Anybody listening, especially out in the country and not on the coast.
No, I've heard a few stories, podcasts about people that have come across these quite grotesque looking,
yeah, man was. I've got to admit, Phil, it was.
I've seen several dog-like, which I've spoke to you about extensively, Phil. I've seen 3 like weird dog-like animals. I've only seen them 3 times in my life. I've seen them.
Yeah.
All on all 4s, not bipedal, Chris. On all 4s.
No. These were all absolutely on 4s. Yeah.
Okay.
But they were like almost holographic, like semi-holographic.
Wow.
Real.
Okay.
I can't even describe it. One of them was elongated. I'd quite happily have a proper chat with you anytime, Colin. You know?
Yep, I'm up for that, Chris.
I had 3 times, and I've said to Phil, very close to some quite significant health events as well. I mean, I don't know if it'd be too close to be coincidental or not close enough even. They certainly weren't.
Steady retro, thank you.
It wasn't the day before or anything like that. So anytime. I mean, after the show, I'd love to get everybody's if you're on Facebook or email. I'd like to send Matt over some information. Everybody some information about Dr. Stuckelberger, if any, about this.
That'd be good.
The portal in CERN. I mean, that'd be interesting to open that up.
Yeah.
I'd like to send you, Rick, my own theory is very, very, very eerily similar to yours. Maybe not so religiously based, but mine is definitely of the theory that that this is that things are different. But again, it's only reading material. I would support you in doing your own version of your. Because the thing is,
I'd appreciate that. I'd appreciate that, Chris.
A lot of this is down to interpretation. It seems like everybody's on the same lines of the harvesting. Everybody's on the same lines of the cryptids. Everybody's on the same lines of the deception. Everybody's on the same lines of this whole phenomena. and I think the different versions that come out is different versions of your own personality trying to tell the same story.
Right.
We've all got the same ideas. They're all so similar. It's so spooky, you know. We're not all sitting.
Do you want to do a part 2 of this? Because I've got to wrap it up, fellas. I'm so sorry. It's coming up to 2 hours.
I'll be happy to do that, Phil, anytime, you know
Yeah.
that.
All right then. Listen, thank you very, very much indeed, everyone that come on. I appreciate it. And listen, all right, it doesn't matter what is said on here from the point of view of I have nothing but respect for Rick, Matt, Chris, Tom, Ian, and Colin as well sometimes. But but I just want to say, I'll tell you why I've got the deepest respect, because whether regardless you're right, whether regardless you're wrong, you stick to your guns, Rick. And you know that can't be a bad thing. And I've got the greatest respect, and the work you put into your theory, I do respect that. I know exactly how much work goes in. And I want to say thank you from all of us for coming on and talking to us.
My apologies if I come across as a hothead, but I'm a hothead, so apologies if I've been a bit too passionate in my delivery.
Nice one, Rick.
You knew that.
I'm going to say thank you very, very much.
I'll send Phil some stuff to
nice meeting you, Mark.
You guys.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, thank you very much indeed.
Get my email for Phil, Chris. Get my email for him. Right then.
Right.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye.
See ya.
Lovely. Okay, and Chris, thank you. Catch you again soon, mate.
See you, Chris.
Right,
Well,
that was good.
It was.
Yeah, it was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, went quite
Very.
deep there.
So we'll have to do a part 3 then, will we?
Oh my word! Yeah, I know. Yeah, blimey, early, crikey. Yeah, my speaker went for a bird and it fell off. Did you hear it? So it just fell off the table. I don't know how that happened. But
something pushed it. Something.
Yeah, it's alien. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and yeah, thank you very much, Cole. Appreciate it, mate. And
it's all right.
catch you again soon.
Just apologising to everybody. We can't get all the answers up, obviously, because it's a heated debate. But we'll try our best next time.
Yeah, for sure. We'll do it. All right then. Thank you, everyone. Toddy bye.